Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to game number 2. You know, Attaway, all this week I was very sad that I wasn't part of the little painting scheme they did. You know, when they painted a player?
Yes.
And I just painted Golden real quick. What a great painting. Love it. Yeah, Golden and Bokwin are in trouble here. They haven't had a single victory the entire week. This is their last chance to make that go a different way. God, the pressure is immense. You can see in their faces.
Yeah, I mean, they've had a tough time of it. Dankus and Lennard had a tough time of it yesterday, but today they've come back strong. They've won that game. They've defeated Golden's crazy strats, and now they go to cement that victory on the much bigger naval map of Nanshin Ron, which of course Dankus lost on yesterday. Yeah,
the Nanshin Ron map seems also a bit like a meme map. A lot of paratrooping going on, a lot of memes going on. I had to face the mine laying of Golden and Bokwin, and that wasn't fun. But we have a gentleman's agreement here. No submarines, no mine laying. Skill is now a bit more important. Who that's going to help, I actually don't know.
Yeah, I mean, so no mines and no submarines means that the naval warfare becomes a straight fight between surface ships. So all the traditional stuff that you need to bear in mind with the destroyers and cruisers is all going to be very important here.
And Golden is really, you can see the anger inside of him. He couldn't sleep last night. He knew he was going to get the win, and this is his last chance where Dankus looks ready. Oh, he saw something already. He's ready to take it down. The thumbs up is there. Lennard, as always, German efficient, ice cold, no emotion. But that makes him strong. And we are in the game. We're on 3rd of January. Let's take a look what's going on. What are going to be the picks? What do you think?
I think we might see Japanese for the actors. We've seen them a couple of times for the naval stuff. And on the Allied side is a real toss-up, actually. We've seen Commonwealth for a very strong fleet. The USA also has some very good marine-type focuses, which can play a big part as well.
Let's take a look what the guys are going up for. They're looking at stuff. What is this ship? Should we build them? 2 guns. By the way, we're playing a safe game here, chat, where people in these 2v2s have a bit more factories to make it a bit more exciting. And there we go. You look at them. They're not trolling anymore. They're not laughing anymore. They are theory crafting now. They know we need to get at least 1 W. Especially Bokwin. It was a hard week. Table tennis, arm wrestling, FIFA, Hoi 4. It just didn't go his way. And here we see him now, with his teammate, with his longtime teammate, Golden.
Yeah, deep in thought. But Bub and Golden have had many of these conversations on stream together, really thinking about how they can manage to defeat Dankus and Lennard, the two of the stronger players here, who have bested them quite quickly, in fact, in the previous round after their mad strats failed. What more mad strats can they come up with on this map, do you think?
That's a good question. This is really the map I know the least about, and I've got to be honest, if I will play allies here, I will have to figure out what to do, to be honest. This map favors the Axis a bit, because the Axis have a quicker access to Manila and North Borneo, 2 out of 3 victory points, and they can very quickly take these just entrench. That's how we won yesterday against Bokwin and Golden, and figuring that out is hard. They were very close. They got the supply in Borneo, had a great attack going on. The mine laying was their main strategy. Here we see paratroopers being used again, Marines coming in, landing craft. This is going to be exciting to see if they can come up with a tactic that truly is surprising Dankus and Lennard.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, in terms of the geography of this whole region, yesterday in a number of games, particularly the ones with CMOPs later on, there is this sort of there's this eastern route as well into New Guinea, which we saw some action in late in that game. You can maybe on the Axis side get within paratroop range or naval invasion range and snipe some ports down here at the Allies. They don't defend their ports enough. And then you have the sort of center of gravity of this entire map around Java, the victory point at Batavia, and the victory point up here at Brunei as well. Lots of Allied landings down here. Axis one generally along the northern coast here and meeting in the middle somewhere. Supplies absolutely critical for that campaign in Borneo.
And we can see, looking at the player cameras, this is much more serious now. They understand what's on the line. As we look at Bokwin's screen here, still theory crafting. U.S. Army pick is there. We're going to see probably the United States Marine Corps with the Marines and the U.S. Navy. They want to become the lords of Midway. And the Arsenal of Democracy, also very strong late game, a massive economy buff. Let's take a look over here at Lennard and Dankus, what they're up to. We're probably going to see Japanese pick here. There isn't much you can do different there.
Yeah, they've gone with the industry focuses so far, whereas Bo and Golden have already picked their US Army focus. They haven't gone down the industry stuff as in the same way. So an immediate change there in the focus priority.
Exactly. And we are in the build-up phase. Already a lot of transport planes. The paratroopers are becoming a bigger and bigger thing in these games. I don't know if we're going to see in the grand final so much. The grand final is still a bit more serious. The guys know they want to really, really win. It's not just entertainment, but these paratroopers are becoming more and more important in these tactics, it seems.
Yeah, no transport planes on the Allied production queue at the moment. They've gone for civilian trains, artillery, and guns straight up. So no paratroopers. Potentially, the most surprising thing would be for Golden not to use paratroopers.
Yeah. The problem really with Golden Bockwin is they have based a lot of the gameplay this week over paratroopers and often didn't go well. I think what we're watching here is the approach of Lennard Denkers, which is a bit more conservative. Real hoi fort, let's build an army, let's play it out for real, where Golden and Bockwin understand they have to be a bit memey with their tactics. They have to try certain things like an early Russia on the last map to get the win. But I would like to see Golden and Bockwin actually play the old school style, the classic style, and conservative style without any big risk taking and actually taking it very serious. Maybe we're going to see that now.
Yeah, this is a map which I think lends it itself quite well to being the Axis player and being quite conservative, because you can grab 2 of those victory points at Manila and in Brunei quite quickly, and then you can fight that defensive battle if you want. Whereas the Allies often have to take Batavia and then really try and take the fight onto Borneo against the Axis team.
And what Chief of Air Force are the guys going for? They're looking at stuff. 15% attack is taken to get these naval invasions, and then the battles on the islands into their favor. There's naval invasion. Where's that going? That must be going
it's heading up to the Philippines.
The Philippines,
the
east
eastern
of
coast,
Manila.
right next to the victory point. So a very bold move there, trying to snipe Manila before the Axis can.
And like just stated, these guys are bold. They understand that in a fully equal game, they're probably going to lose, so they have to try something weird. And they're not going for the basic islands that you normally will take as Australia, as the Allies here earlier. They're going for the Philippines already. They were successful against me there yesterday. They created a very, very nice base. They also showed behavior of taking something that doesn't have a port and then building that port and then doing some damage. A big weakness the guy said yesterday is not enough air. They couldn't win the air war. They didn't have enough CAS. That really didn't help them much. And we don't see any air production, I think, from them right now. Let me check really, really quick. I do not think we're going to see it from them at the moment. Yes, we are not. Just a lot of trains, artillery 2, and infantry equipment.
Yeah, just the really striking is that huge number of factories on transport planes for the Axis. 13 factories on transport planes, 7 on guns. So potentially looking at air supply as well to try and counter the supply issues that you can get in Borneo particularly. But yeah, on the Allied side, that naval invasion, they're not being conservative. They're not trying to naval invade the southern port of Mindanao. And they're going straight for Manila in the north. The most aggressive play I think you can do, as the Allies are right at the start, is try and snipe Manila, which is so close to the Axis homeland.
Yeah. Do we still have Mitch's statistics here? I don't think so. Do you remember what the Nashinron map looked like statistically?
It was 50-50.
50-50? Wow.
So we've played it twice, and there was 1 Allied victory and then 1 Axis one.
That is interesting. Now we see some rock, paper, scissors esports. Once again, the esports Mandank is getting the win here in rock, paper, scissors. The anti-tank 2 is coming. And we're seeing a 50-50 map. Many people argued that this is an Axis favorite map because you get Manila and North Borneo so fast. But a 50-50 remit at the moment, obviously the data isn't that big, is quite interesting. And today we're going to see that win rate shift into one direction.
Yeah, I mean, I think overall you do look at it and you think the Axis have the initial advantage because of the location of the victory points. But it doesn't always work out that way. We might, if you've had 100 games, you might see a trend towards the Axis. But in this tournament, the pressure gets to people. We saw that last night with Lennard. That you can make mistakes under these lights, and when you're on that stage.
And we have a realistic Pacific War, Japan versus the USA. I also just realized that the early US pick of Bockwin and Gold is very clever, because you spawn on your navy and can then train that navy to already have a very veteran navy here on the map. Japan versus USA. We knew how that went in real life, but we'll figure out if our USA players, Golden and Bockwin, can get it done like the Americans did in our real-life history.
Yeah, absolutely. The 2 navies, the Allies do have the battleship right now, so they have a battleship, 3 heavy cruisers, 8 destroyers, and the 3 submarines, which of course won't play any part. And then the Axis, 3 light cruisers and 8 destroyers. So an early naval advantage, and being able to train that battleship particularly, very large ship, very powerful ship, could prove key as the naval battle progresses. Again, with no subs and no mines, the naval battle is completely different to how it would play out on maps like Sol and Bloom we've seen.
And like I said before, I think it's very much more skill-based now. Once the very strong submarines and the mines are gone, skill makes a much more huge difference on this map. And that's what it comes down to. They have now 72 transport planes. They have to go into these fighter too soon if they want to be able to have a nice air force by the time the war starts. That is a lot of transport planes. They're looking at medium airframes. They're discussing stuff, maybe talking about bombing, but they're staying basic here. What research are we going to see from the boys? Nothing. They're just chill. They're drinking Kool-Aid. They don't need no research right now. Let's take a look over to the boys again. Bokwin and Golden that know they need to get it done here, guys. Still just on trains, on artillery and guns. No air here.
On the research, they're going for landing craft at the moment. They are now researching paratroopers. On the Allied side, Marines being researched and basic machine tools. They are still not producing any transport planes though themselves. So whether or not they're intending for paratroopers to play a sizable role, you need quite a lot of transport planes to drop even one paratrooper division. So we'll see if they do go into that or if they are going to decide to go into CAS. Neither side has made any planes yet at all.
Yeah. Well, the Axis are slowly getting into planes, and the problem with paratroopers is you need green air to drop them. And if Bokwin and Golden do not decide to get anything on air, it's going to be very hard to get these people across, especially to the islands that actually matter.
Actually, yes, I was wrong there. We are having fighters now from the Axis. 15 factories on fighters.
Yeah, they
the
deleted
Axis
all the
and
transport
6
plane
and
production.
6. So yeah, they obviously have a fixed number in mind. They had in mind for the transport planes, and now pivoting hard into fighters to get the green air to drop those paratroopers on that key location.
73 transport planes. Is that enough for Dankus and Lennard to take it here in the second game and undo what happened to them in the main tournament, losing their positions as favorites? Maybe they can save their honor by taking... actually, you're beating Bokwin and Golden. I don't know how much honor is in that, but they are on a good path here with their Axis pick to maybe take the map here in the next 52 minutes.
Yeah, it's quite good, I think, from Lennard and Dankus starting the game, building the transport planes they have in mind, waiting so they can get the XP to design the right fighter, and then pivoting hard into the fighter. They're confident in the number of planes they need. They don't want to overbuild the number of transport planes. They want to get straight into fighters and spend as long as possible building that efficiency and getting the right number of planes out to get green air.
And green air is going to help so much on this map. We just saw why the USA pick first is so strong. They were able to train their navy up to veterancy. One might even argue you could even take the US pick later and you could still train your army, your navy up. And we have the United States Marine Corps now picked. They're getting their first Marine Division, 20th Marine Division from the focus tree. And let's switch over back to Dankus, see what he is up to. 7 mils here. An airport in the south? What are you trying to reach, sir? One airport here for 200 planes. They're trying to reach something.
Yeah, so
probably with paratroopers.
They already there's an airbase in Bangkok, so they're bringing one much further south here. It might allow them to get quite close to Batavia on a paradrop, maybe across that strait. So it could just be a super aggressive play from the Axis side here to try and nab Batavia, right from under the nose of the Allied team.
What I love to see here is a big boy naval battle. I love seeing them because I still don't understand them after 6 hours. But they're nice to watch, especially when capital ships go down. And yesterday we had the Yamato ship and it just died to mines. That was so sad.
Very anticlimactic for the
that was very sad.
Yamato.
We built these battleships for years and then a mine destroys them.
That's what can happen sometimes.
It really hurts when it happens. Here we have the CAS now coming out, extra fuel tanks. Oh, I do. Wait, can I know? Something is wrong in that design. They don't know. Nobody knows what's wrong?
Twin engine or...
I don't think that's the issue here. Why can this... Okay, it was the engine, I think. Weird. Maybe some kind of design on that plane that needs a twin engine, but now the CAS is able to be built. And they're going back again, and they can't change the template. Okay, nobody knows what's going on right now. Why can these planes not be changed? I think they're also confused, but he's building now the twin engines. Twin engines on light frames, not so good. They really take a lot of production cost up, even though the value isn't that good. Light airflames often should just have one engine. That could play a little factor, but as we see once again, Bokwin and Golden are probably still not doing any planes. I'm checking right now. Yes, still just on trains, artillery, and guns. The air war is utterly 100% in the hands of Dankus and Lennard. I'm checking the focus tree real quick. There are spawning 100 basic medium airframes soon. That's the Allies place. The USA.
Yeah, attack bombers. I think those are.
Yeah, but that's it. There's no airplanes to protect these bombers, and it looks like they're just really not going for any air war. And the paratroopers are gonna have a hard time if there's no air up in the sky of Southeast Asia.
Well, yeah. I mean, they're yet to build any transport planes either for any paratroopers. So At the moment, the build for the Allies has just been purely artillery and infantry equipment. Just looking at naval invasions, and that's it, really.
And as stated before, maybe this comes really down to a first series game from Golden and Bakuin without any crazy rushes in the beginning. And already it seems in a serious game they might not have the edge over Lennard and Denkers, who are showing us at the moment a probably stronger build. You just saw they got the paratroopers done, but will they be used? There's the floating harbors. They love them from the last game, but on this map the naval invasions actually mean something. We also see the cruiser hull and the destroyer hull almost being finished here. The Navy is getting stronger.
Yeah, it's going to be a really interesting battle here, because if Bow and Golden are just completely avoiding the air war completely, just not going to fight it at all, that's going to expose their troops to serious damage, potentially on Borneo, particularly if they're going to have to fight an offensive battle to take Brunei from the Axis side.
One thing that's a bit off the record, if we switch over to here real quick, they're doing mad civs. They are not doing mills, they're not doing naval dockyards, they're not going down the Japantry. They have been civ greedy, and I think that's the first time I've seen it this week, that people are going very, very early civs. It's going to end, and they're going to end up with a massive civ count that the longer the game goes, the more it's going to help them. A very interesting choice here by Lennard and Denkers.
Yeah, I think before the game started, Lennard was saying they want to make it slow and painful for their opponents. So really leaning into that, going for the civs, and they're going to try and crank up the pressure relentlessly throughout the whole game. The higher civs will, of course, allow them to build more buildings, whether that's ports or infrastructure or more military factories, and put the Allies under immense pressure come the end of this round.
I must say, I almost think this could be a viable tactic for a competitive, high-level game like a final, because as the Axis, you're going to get Manila and Borneo. You're going to be fine for a while. Your enemies, if you play everything correct, are not going to be a threat to your two VPs for a while. So taking early civs could actually be a genius play, but I've always been very biased towards civs, and it often bit me in the butt. We will see if the civs are going to be the greatest choice Lennard and Denkers could have made here.
Yeah, we're looking at it here. We have 22 mills for the Allies, 48 factories total for the Allies. Axis side having 69 total factories, 22 mills as well. So there's a really big discrepancy in the civ count here.
And I would like to see more from Buckhorn and Golden. They have the two Marines from the focus tree. They're building only artillery, trains, and guns. There's no air going on. There we see the reapplication of their naval invasion. I don't know if it's going to work. I think Denkers and Lennard know they'll have to go to Manila. They will entrench in Manila by the time this naval invasion lands. And then these divisions landing here, this is two good Marines we just seen being used here. They're going to be encircled. They're not going to have much going on. And that is a massive risk play by Golden and Bakuin, maybe out of nervosity, I don't know.
Well, they might. I mean, they've obviously been going for the floating harbours to try and give them supply as they land there around Manila. So the question will be, is that going to be enough, and are they going to commit enough forces to that to allow them to take the port off the Axis? Assuming, as we do, the Axis will get there first with their own day one naval invasion over a much smaller distance. And just to circle back on the point on the civs. The Allies for a while there were at 6 civs actually making something on their construction tab. The Axis had 3 times as many, 18 civs working on projects. So there is a real stark difference, because obviously as the Allies, I believe, have taken no more industry focus at all. Actually, the Allies, they've gone squarely down their faction tree to get more bonuses there. No industry at all, done, not mills even or dockyards at all.
And I'm sorry to say, that just looks very weak to me. If you look at Golden and Bakuin, just no industry builds. Yes, sure, you're getting your bonuses, but they don't do anything for you right now. At the moment, you do not need supply consumption. You don't need these Marines. You don't need 50% trading time. And now they get the 100 deck bombers, while your enemies already are crushing you on civs. If you take a look over to the boys, are they going into the political trees, or is there... Yeah, they are. They're not going to take the mills right now, but these civs are beautiful. And civs are important for one thing. A civilian factory isn't just basic production of goods. What people need to understand, civs is also logistics. Every civilian factory builds you a port. It builds you supply hubs. It builds you railways. And a good civ count can make them have great supply. And I also think, when I was talking to the guys, a massive thing on this map is forts, naval forts and land-based forts. So once they entrench into Manila, and North Borneo and start building these forts. It's going to be so hard to push them out. Yesterday, me and Habibi were building these forts, and it was so hard for Golden and Bokwin to crush the infantry holding these ports if the forts are online there.
Yeah, I mean, one thing they could be doing, Bow and Golden, with the focus choices, is they might be trying to rush down to Arsenal Democracy very quickly, which does give you an industry boost from a different direction with increased modifiers. But I think, honestly, I would prefer to have the civs earlier on, or the mills earlier, because that's going to give you just over the long run, and you can get this focus later anyway.
Exactly. It's hard to give multiplication bonus to something that doesn't exist. And -5 consumer goods on, 2 civs is not going to be so well. I don't know if that's the right decision. Maybe they know something we don't know, but at the moment I see Lennard and Denkers a bit ahead here. The concealment expert, the smokescreen, minesweeper. What's he going for? Nothing. How close are we to the war? 73 days, we're getting pretty close now. Passive defense, I don't think the LS even have an agency. Let me check that real quick. They do not have an agency. This passive defense is not helping them out at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the mill's being cranked out now on the construction tab of the Axis. I mean, it's one new military factory about every 3 weeks, 4 weeks in game. So it's not even slow. They will churn out these factories and just relentlessly pull away from their opponents in mill count. They're already what I think is 3 mill factories ahead of their allied opponents. Allies are trying to produce transport planes now. They haven't got a spare factory to go onto that line though.
Yeah.
They've lined it up. They haven't got the factory spare. So already, I mean, we're only 18 minutes into this game, and you can see the allied military industry being held back by their lack of military factories because they've decided to go so far down their faction tree and not done any industry focuses at all.
100%. This could be turning out to be a massive mistake that will bring the loss here to Bokwin and Golden. There is just no industry. And we have seen in the course of this week an early industry build, even if it's just a mill build, is so important. Otherwise, you're so behind. They are so behind right now in production. They cannot really produce many divisions. I'm taking a look. As you see, they're building 20 divisions. They still have a lot of guns, 12,000 guns still in the back. But it's a very one-dimensional build. It's just basic gun infantry with artillery. Yes, we see artillery. But is it going to be enough? Especially with that invasion east of Manila. The first question we will have to answer when the war starts is, can the garrison, Denkers and Lennard are sending to Manila, handle this invasion that's coming to the east of the Philippines?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the east of the Philippines is the critical thing here. They are now setting up naval invasions there on Batavia. It's again just like the first game we saw with Golden Bokoen. They're determined. They're going to keep trying these very aggressive strategies, very off-piste builds to try and find something that works, that's different. They are. I mean, I'm wondering that they may now be rushing towards the Lords of Midway focus very soon, which will give them the naval training. Give them 2 carriers, which will be there in time for the start of the war. I think no, they won't. 32 days to go to the war. That's a 35-day focus, so a few days after the war begins, they'll have those 2 carriers. So they may well find themselves with naval superiority, which they might be able to leverage to try and prevent Axis from even landing in the first place on some of these naval invasions.
And as you just said, it's an aggressive build, and they have to be aggressive and rush here. They are super behind in industry. If this game goes too long, they're just going to fall behind even more. Something has to happen early. They're putting themselves into this disadvantage. I don't speak English that well. It's not a good situation. They're going to see themselves in if the game goes too long. And we are, I think, very close to the war. It is 22 days before action is coming. As we switch over back to Team Lennard and Denkers.
Yeah, doing some inter-agency stuff there. We haven't actually looked at that for a while. There is no allied intel-agency at all. Not one built at all. The Axis have gone down into their intel. They've got Naval Department. They're going for Invisible Ink right now. And they've had
Invisible Ink do?
Gives assets and still blueprint risk.
Blueprint stealing might be a thing here.
The risk goes down. But that's well, the intel is gained from operatives increases, so their intel on the allies will increase as a result of this one as well.
Ah.
There is no agency fighting from the other side, so the 3 they've put into passive defense useless. There's no use for them at all. But again, they've been able to do this because of their much greater number of civs that they've gained.
And this is another great attribute where Lennard and Denkers are just running away with the game. They have an agency. The spy is on Australia, giving them immense bonuses. The planning bonus of the LS is going down, and many more bonuses coming towards Lennard and Denkers here, thanks to the agency upgrades.
Yeah, absolutely. Some pings there. Naval invasion is being set up by the Axis side there. Paratrops, in fact. So they're paradropping from that air base they built in what is the south of Thailand, and then they're trying to paradrop into Singapore and into the two ports at
I'm
Sumatra.
concerned. Do you see anything on Manila here? There's nothing going to Manila.
I see nothing on Manila currently.
This could be an
right.
unbelievable counter by Bokuin and Golden here. Lennard and Dankers are tunnel visioning. They're not going to easy victory point Manila. And there's going to be a massive invasion on Manila. This could be the second victory point for Bo and Golden. Holding the one in the south and Manila. Leaving Dankers and Lennard only. They're not even... Though they're going for North Borneo. Yes. This could be a great upset here.
Yeah, so the Allies have... Well, here comes the war.
There's the war.
The Allies are lined up on Batavia with those naval invasions and on Manila. If the Allies get hold of Manila, they're going to have such a great naval base.
Yeah.
Right on the Axis doorstep to fight the war navally. And also, once you hold Manila securely, it's really hard to dig someone out of there because you'll have to naval invade or paradrop to do it.
And this is perfect now. Look at the view here. They're not looking at the Philippines at all. Tunnel visioning out here in the south. Two players once again. Where's the micro, boys? The north is in trouble. Now he's doing it way too late. If Bokwin and Golden can already land, the war has started. This is way too late.
Yeah, they're already at sea.
Days.
We've got two divisions already at sea.
Yeah,
they haven't all left yet. No.
A lot of them have not been started because if we switch over here to Attaway,
no naval superiority.
They cannot get the invasion going.
That is so sad. The problem is the Axis have a huge number of destroyers, 35 destroyers. And then on the Allied side, way less than that. They don't have the ship numbers to get the naval superiority to take Manila. So although I did see an Allied invasion going, it's the one over here onto Guinea that have launched.
You can see it in Bokwin's face. That did not work at all.
Not even onto Batavia at all. They've got absolutely no naval superiority anywhere.
Another massive win for Lennard and Dankers. They didn't even have to go to the Philippines and still winning the Philippines thanks to their superiority navy. All is red and there all is green when we switch to the Axis here. Beautifully done by Lennard and Dankers, who utterly blocked out the Philippines for Bokwin and Golden. Beautifully done. I don't even know if they know what they did, but if you're omnipresent and can see everything, this has been really, really strong for the Axis.
Yeah, the Allied naval hasn't been strong enough. They're on strike force. All of these units on the Allied side, they're on. There's one group on strike force, and then a bunch here on what mission are you even on? I don't even know. I think that's more strike force. So I think it's the large number of Axis destroyers they've got. They've been able to cover a lot of ground and win. It's not very strong forces, but they've managed to get that green sea. And once you can't move as a naval invasion, you're pretty doomed.
Yeah, you put a lot of X into one basket, and that basket just got flipped over. The X are broken. Dankers now knows where the Allied fleet is, to the south of Java. He is putting carrier planes on his carriers, probably ready to fight the naval battle, and we all want to see naval battle. That is always a great thing to watch. It's like Godzilla and Mechagodzilla meeting each other. You just look in awe, and hopefully we'll see a big naval battle here soon. Borneo taken. That's 1 VP for Dankers and Lennard. Manila taken.
We have interceptions here of American convoys by the Axis fleet, destroyer attacking convoys, sinking them. These are I think 7 or 8 divisions at sea here for the Allied side, and they're being caught here by enemy destroyers before they even get anywhere near Java. There's no escort. Oh, here it is. Here comes the American fleet.
Finally. Very late though. A lot of damage has been done.
Yeah, 4 convoys sunk.
Might not even be able to take Batavia.
Yeah, it's been a really disastrous start to this game for them. They lost a bunch of things. Here they come. They are still getting through. They're going to land.
Nice. We're going to see 1 VP at least taken by Team Bo here. But now the pressure is
more raiding here, trying to respond again with the fleet to further convoy attacks by Japanese destroyers. They are going to land. No, they're being intercepted again. Yeah, more raiding here. This is just 1 destroyer that's almost sunk.
Bottom left. So much equipment damage done. 2 divisions completely out of equipment here.
Yeah.
And there's also democracy, but it's not going to do anything for Bokwin and Golden. They have no industry to back this up with, and they're going to take
more convoys being sent here. And you can see here on the left here the current fighting strength of these divisions. Absolutely hammered. They've lost thousands of men and a lot of their equipment as well.
And Lennard Dankers are just playing Golden Bockwin against the wall. They're just at the moment better in every single aspect. And I love this. I just talked about this a second ago. No submarines, no mines. Skill matters now. And someone is being outskilled. You can see it in the face. There's not a lot of smiling anymore. It's oh, there's actually an invasion going east of the Philippines, but it's way too late. The Philippines is entrenched. There's divisions there. Oh, this invasion is going to have such a bad time, and it's getting intercepted.
Yeah, it's a really tough time, and I've just opened up the casualties screen, and we're looking at 54,000 casualties so far for the Allied nations, and on the Axis side, 2.
Oh, we have to show that. Look at that. This is
2 people.
What you call an outplay. These 2 people probably just slipped because they were drunk on the deck of some carrier, I don't know, but 60,000 kills without even a real land battle. This is a disaster for Golden Bockwin. They're getting destroyed at the moment, and it just went up. Oh my God! Look at these kills.
65,000 now.
Oh
still 2 for the Axis.
When are we gonna have a third kill? There's 2 kills for Golden Bockwin.
They've doubled their kill count.
They doubled their kill count. Who can do that? Oh, and another one. Beautiful. We're now seeing the first 6 kills from Bockwin and Golden.
66,000 to 6. I mean, so that's like 10,000 times smaller than what number?
Ouch. Big ouch. Bockwin and Golden already not looking so happy. Very often when you look at Golden and Bockwin, they prepare one big punch, and if the punch doesn't go through, they have not much left, unfortunately. A bit one-dimensional. The divisions are not going to reach east of Philippines, and you can, yeah, I mean, look at them.
I'm curious, they've gone for this big invasion of New Guinea on the eastern side of the map here, the Allies, and I don't quite know why at this moment.
Is there resources there?
Not that I can see on the map mode, actually. No resources.
There's nothing there. The one thing they took is worth nothing, unfortunately. That's the problem with New Guinea here. It's not that good to take.
Yeah, I mean, we saw this yesterday with in CMOP's game. This became a late battle area because there was a possibility of maybe a paradrop, an Axis attack here. Defensively, the Allies invaded this area, but they've defended this eastern side of the map, and meanwhile, elsewhere, everything has gone horribly wrong.
Look at this. They're just getting caught and caught and caught. They just can't do anything about this. They try so hard to reach the Philippines, but the the Japan players rather, are ready for this. This is not going to go anywhere. And look at these catches. Sure, we, for example, see a very damaged Japanese destroyer, but it doesn't matter if he gets destroyed. He's doing the job. He's intercepting this invasion. And yeah, I think Bockwin is now in the next stage of the cope. He is now accepting it in a comedic manner.
I mean, I'm looking though. We're seeing 0% fulfillment of logistics on the Axis side, which is mostly trains needed 14 stockpiles 2, and trucks needed 80 stockpiles 0. They have exactly what they need in convoys though, which is the main thing at the moment for supplying via ports.
Yeah, massive supply just for the Axis, but I don't think this mistake doesn't matter. It's not being exploited. They have all the islands. There is nothing being challenged here. Bockwin and Golden trying so hard with this East Philippines thing that just is way too predictable at this point. Beautiful damage done here to that ship. They're also bringing their navy up to stop everything that's going on east of the Philippines. Beautiful place by Lennard and Denkers. If they would have played like this in the competitive games, maybe we'll see them in the grand finals.
Yeah, absolutely. It's extraordinary that both of them yesterday. I mean, maybe in 2v2 it's a little bit easier to focus on your thing and not get too overwhelmed by micro. But yeah, yesterday we just saw particularly Lennard just have real issues when he was really under pressure, having to micro a lot against College. And today, together, they've been really fearsome in these 2 games so far.
And that brings me back to the point I made on the pre-stream. These players, I know these guys, they often play in a community where everything is co-op. They have many players on Germany, Russia, USA, and you can see that right now. On their own, struggling a bit, but together with their friends, these guys are great friends, very efficient. I would think there's a big career for Danks and Lennard in a possible 2v2 tournament maybe one day.
Potentially, yeah. And it is absolutely the case that, you know, in Hearts of Iron 4, playing particularly some of the big major nations on your own can be really difficult in a big multiplayer scenario, particularly, because there is so much to consider, especially when we have the whole map in play. If you're Britain with a huge global empire and navy and air force and all these different things to manage, sometimes Hearts of Iron can be a lot more fun playing with co-op companions, because you can focus on your own area and, you know, really optimize your own play.
And as a man of the old God of War 4, back when the game came out and I was building my career up there, a lot of players were solo on Germany and the UK, etc. And it made them under pressure diamonds. It made them much stronger and have much more focus on the things that mattered. But that is not what Dankus and Lennard need at the moment. They need just themselves. They need their friendship, and that is going to make them probably win game number 2 here, taking this serious. And there's just no threats anywhere. They can just lay back, do a vacation on all the islands they took, and enjoy themselves.
Yeah, I mean they hold all 3 victory points at the moment. It's going to be very, very difficult for Bo and Golden to get back in here to this battle. I'm now looking at 93,000 casualties for the Allied and 48 for the
48
Axis.
kills. Not bad, Bokkoen. This is a bad situation if you're a Hoi4 player. You know anything you tried didn't work, and you have 30 minutes left, and you're looking for anything you can do. You don't just want to call the GG. You don't want to just run away from this problem. But what solution can they have? And these kills are ridiculous. You can see it on Bokkoen's face. Golden. This picture is speaking of the story of the game.
Yeah, it's a really tough situation. They do have. I'm looking at the they have no port defenses currently in their actual mainland. There are no divisions there at all. So, using their naval superiority, if the Axis wanted to naval invade, they have all this green sea here. If they wanted to try and naval invade and really drive home their dominance in these coastal ports down here, there's nothing stopping them at the moment.
That is, the question now is if Lennard Dankus actually want to go for an end. They can just lay back, but if they want to, there we go. He's listening. He is going for naval invasions, hopefully, trying to end this game. The paratroopers are in the south of this island, ready to maybe go deeper into Australia. They might even take this island now. That island is called, if you know that, you're a very educated young man.
Actually,
It is called...
that's Christmas Island.
Christmas Island. Oh, is that where these statues are with the faces?
It could be, yeah.
I think so.
It sounds familiar.
Education achieved.
I'm just looking at it. There's no division there.
Yeah, this almost looks like Golden and Bokkoen are not
But they can just paradrop and
giving it
just take it, and then from there, if there's it's only a few short hops, and you're on the mainland.
This is starting to look disastrous for Bokkoen and Golden. Are they still doing anything about this? They're looking at Taiwan. I don't think that's the right thing to look at. I don't think they know what's coming for them very soon, and they just look devastated. They look like a deer in the headlights. They are waiting for this Lennard Dankus call to crash into them, and yeah, it's going to probably happen before 26 minutes. The Navy is just in port.
Yeah, there is a paradrop order going, and they stopped it. It didn't actually launch.
Something must be wrong there with the air, but any second now the Christmas Islands are going to speak Japanese.
Yeah, and then, I mean, 26 minutes on the clock, but there's almost no way back here. I mean,
and looking at the boys here, they're just discussing what went wrong. You don't see any reaction anymore. I think this doesn't look very competitive anymore. It just depends now if Lennard and Dankus want to end this soon. Well, you said it, Lennard wants them to have a slow and painful defeat here.
Yeah.
Let's see if they deliver on that in the next 26 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, and the problem with the Allies as well is they have nothing which is going to come and save them. The air war, the air production is overwhelming with the Axis, so they can't use the air they can't paradrop, they can't build up cast damage on their opponents to get a good landing. They've lost the sea, so they can't do any kind of supply constraints on the enemy troops that are ashore. So, having been pushed off the islands, if you haven't got the air or the sea, there's absolutely no way you can strike back.
Yeah. If we see a Golden Bokkoen comeback here, I'm gonna eat a broom. But I don't think that's going to happen. They're getting closer and closer to the northwestern coastline of Australia, and I want to see this again. This is like watching a bad movie. Are they looking a bit more?
Oh, they're going for a Hail Mary naval invasion.
Woke up.
That's outside the map.
Wait, they are invading the neutral nation.
That's not even that's outside the map. That's not even a neutral nation. That's like the.
Is that? Can you declare war to a neutral nation?
No.
I'm
not sure. Can you put can troops even go there? Outside the map?
Check for
I'm not sure what the constraints are on the modding, because we have the neutral League of Neutrality, which is almost like a nation in the game that has no troops and doesn't do anything. But the other darkened areas on the map are adjacent areas, which I think involve some of the same tags basically in the base game when they modded it. So I'm not sure.
Right here it says though the Allied is at war with the League of Neutrality.
With the white coloured League of Neutrality, yes. But this area up here is something different. There's not even
just a desperate try to get anything done. They cannot.
They're trying to go outside the map essentially to try and get an advantage. It's exploits, you know, as they were saying. They were saying that Lennard and Dankus would try exploits, but it's Golden and Boho
coming from the guys using mines last game.
Trying to find some. Yeah, naval invasion onto Australia there.
That must be the most desperate move I've ever seen. Trying to get out of the map, just leaving this universe, going to the multiverse, maybe one where they can finally win games. And they're just probably going to try to defend the West Australia here. Let's see if they still have the spirit to do this. But Lennard and Dankus are just slowly being able to just focus on Australia. There's not much else left.
Yeah, this is clinical stuff at this point. Lennard and Dankus, you know, they got to get their defeats out of their system, and today they have absolutely done that.
They must
2 victories.
They're going to feel very good about that. And that's the power of friendship I was talking about. And yeah, at this point we can just watch this theater that is very one-sided at the moment. There's actually reaction. He's trying to push out this division.
They're so de-orged though from what maybe was from the move over there.
Yeah, walking through Australia is not an easy task, as D2 Marine divisions have learned right now. I think Dankus could be a bit more active here. They could really do much more damage if they wanted to. But I think they just know, we got this. Yeah, you come at us, boys. Yeah,
I'm not sure. I mean, the naval invasion they had planned, I mean, they can't launch it. They don't have the naval superiority. They've had to block off enormous areas of the ocean to their own supplies. And now, yeah, facing an invasion of Australia itself by Lennard and Dankus.
And once again, when we talk about what... Can we take a look at that? Look at the kills.
Yeah, 93,000... Oh, 5,000 now for the...
That's because they killed that division that just landed in Australia. Before that, it was like 50.
It was 48 was the number we were at.
At least they reached 1,000 kills. And what was really the breaking point of this game, right? Is that once again Golden and Bokuin try one big Hail Mary. There's one big move in this case going east of Manila. But once they realized we cannot get Green Navy, a great play by Lennard and Dankus to have the Navy east of the Philippines and everywhere around there that the US Navy can't do anything over there. It destroyed the entire plan. Oh, is that the GG here in a second? He is... I think that's GG just on Danish.
I haven't seen it
yet. Is he projecting Navy?
Is he?
Okay, I think we're coping now. We're in phase 5 denial. That's how he deleted it though. He's trying to keep his composure. No BM here. He could have just said GG there and saved everybody some lunchtime. But yeah, the big Hail Mary, just like in the map before, just didn't work. And I think in the future, when Golden and Bokuin are back in these tournaments, especially Golden, who we will see probably back in these games, is to not have just one big move, to offer something else. They couldn't even take this South VP called Batavia, and one single paratrooper with an air build could have actually taken it.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen that a number of times in the previous times this map's been taken. You can, as the Allies, power drop very easily into Batavia because the Axis cannot really have air superiority down that quickly because it's through the neutral zone. So you can get that reliably with paratroopers as the Allies. They didn't go for that. They went for a purely naval invasion build first up. But the issue was the Axis had a lot more destroyers, had a lot more ships in total, so they could cover a great number of navy zones with their fleet. The Allies had a carrier, had battleships, had some heavy cruisers, but very small numbers of ships, and one ship could only be in one place at a time.
That's a perfect explanation of what happened here. And early in the game, we saw a beautiful high-level move from the boys. They split the destroyers out of the Navy and used these destroyers to defend themselves. That is a high-level move that made them be defended here east in the Philippines. And now they're just looking for this little island here. It doesn't have a port. They landed there. It's going to be pretty easy for Golden and Bokuin to push this out. But their division south of this are very unorged. Here comes probably...
there's a line just north of there. The Americans do have some green air here.
There's already the kill. Again, I feel like Lennard and Dankus could do this much more efficient if they wanted to. They're just really not investing that much into these invasions.
Yeah, they're repelling this invasion now. The Allied troops crossing the strait and ejecting this garrison on the island here. That will be some more kills for the Allied side.
9,000 kills now. Congratulations, not bad.
Only 10 times more for the other side.
And I think we only see defense here. Yeah, I mean. all these divisions, they're just attritioning on each other. I think there's not a serious play anymore to be expected from Golden and Bokoen. Looking over, trying to figure out what went wrong here. He was writing that they're not projecting Navy. I don't know what that really means, and even if it means something, that's not the reason they lost this game here. They just went way too all in here.
Yeah, it has all hinged on the naval superiority. Had they been able to get, I mean, to be fair to Governor Bokoen, this might come down to a miscalculation on their own naval strength versus their opponents. Had they had the naval superiority they were probably expecting, they would have got Manila because the Axis were slow to get their naval invasion going on Manila in the first place, and were lucky or had calculated that they could deny the naval superiority to the Allies and sneak in there at their leisure.
And as you perfectly explained, it is 3 Navy tiles to reach the Philippines, and 1 big Navy is just not enough to do that. It's just 1 Navy that can be in 1 place, maybe a split ultimate. There's actually a big naval battle going on. Interesting. Oh, come on, show it, Bokoen. We need to watch that. Maybe we can switch real quick. For there's finally some content. Japanese Navy versus US Navy. Looking quite good for the US at the moment with 100% positioning, 77% positioning on the Japanese. The carriers of the Orging, nothing got killed. They just were feeling each other out. That is not a lot of kills going on.
Yeah, just planes on both sides
At
going
least we
down
saw a
there.
nice naval battle.
Yeah.
Hey.
It was a great one we saw yesterday at the end of the mentioned run map with between Dankus and CMOPs. Dankus and CMOPs, which resulted in a heavy victory for Dankus' side.
Let us figure out if Lennard and Dankus have something to offer for Australia to end this game. Still taking it serious. Their faces are serious. We see a smile on Lennard finally. He is showing the emotion. He is probably relieved that they're taking the 2-0 here from the guys. But I don't really see them build up anything that's going to threaten Australia.
No, nothing I can see coming down the line on that one. I mean, to be honest, with this round so far, just a complete lack of ground combat. We've seen none because the Axis has taken all 3 points. There was never any landing by the Allies, and just a succession of attempted and failed naval invasions that have cost them dear. Yeah, we have one. We have one here. So we have the Axis carriers involved. The Allied fleet is trying to retreat as quickly
so much
as it
damage
can.
from the US Navy.
But yeah, just two, I mean, there was
just
2 destroyers sunk there. 1 destroyer was sunk, and
but
some
the damage.
Yeah, significant damage. If I can find the Allied fleet wherever it is here, you can see some of the strengths here way down on some of these cruisers.
The Axis fleet, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that is. Sorry,
they're fighting again, yeah.
Are they? Yeah, there.
And if you look at the damage of the Allies,
I'll
take so much
I'll switch over. You can see them trying to retreat here. The Allied ships, they are all going to get away, and
not even the Navy is going.
And then we'll select here. Yeah. 32% on that cruiser. Loads of these ships are down to half health, if not lower.
The head shake from Bokoen. He doesn't understand. Well, it is what it is. The Navy was just better. And Lennard and Dankus are probably going to take this game. The question now is how much longer this torture is going to commence.
Yeah, 16 minutes. If they want to, they can string this out and make them suffer. Force them either to do the GG or to just capitulate. The ultimate humiliation of not even having to acknowledge that you have no chance of putting it back.
The greatest thing here is actually the camera. What happened there, Golden? He's probably trying to figure it out. Well, it was pretty clear. They couldn't land east of Manila with their big Hail Mary. And then there was nothing else they could offer, unfortunately, after that. On this map, it really depends when the war starts, who takes stuff in the beginning of the map. We're going to see the map... isn't it the first map in the grand final? Yes.
I think it might be, actually.
I think so. Ladies and gentlemen, the first map of the grand final is going to be this map, and I think it's going to be a bit more competitive than this.
Yeah, I know that we see in the first 3 rounds we see all 3 maps played in the final, and I think Rhine might be the 3rd one. So we do see all 3, the whole variety of different talents in Hoi 4.
Yeah, in the final,
finalists.
Every single map will be played. A true token of showing who's the better player on all the maps that are presented in this week. Going to be very exciting to see, and that's what we're doing after this game. Stay tuned. We're going to see the grand final. That is some high-level Hoi 4 you're going to see here today.
Could be a GG here. I mean, Bo and Golden at this point are...
Yeah.
I mean, they're engaged in what can only be described as an animated discussion with their teammates. recriminations. How did it all go so wrong?
Yeah.
See the victorious players on the other side. Cool, calm, and collected.
Cool and calm,
just relentlessly.
Who are you talking to?
Plotting their next move. Everyone laughed at them yesterday when they lost the semi-finalists, but they've shown today why they are regarded as two of the strongest players of Hearts of Iron 4.
Yeah, that was just efficient and clean. And I will even go as far as saying they weren't really challenged here today by Golden and Bokoen.
No, I mean Golden and Bokoen have just both decided that we're not going to try and just fight them in the traditional way. We're going to go for these crazy strats. We're going to try and embarrass them. Find a really fun way to win, which I respect absolutely in these show matches. Trying to put on a show for different strategies, but it's not paid off for them today.
Actually, if we go into our observer perspective, we can see all the cameras, and that is very fun to see. A lot of they're very mad at each other. This is a rivalry. There's a big rivalry now growing here. But Cohen understands, I need to stop playing Steel Division. I need to get back into I4 and get better at this again. And maybe next time he can show us what he's learned in that period. It would be nice to hear what they're discussing about. Often as a caster, you cast a game and you think this is going right, this is going wrong, but then you go back to the couch, talk to the players, and they tell you about a whole different perspective of what happened. They see things we haven't seen, we have seen things they haven't seen, and everybody has always different explanations of what happened.
Yeah, it's always trying to work out as a caster, is it going terribly wrong, or do they have a secret plan? Which is often, and you can actually hear them now in our ears.
Big stack right here.
This is not a big stack. The big stack is coming.
Yeah, we can hear what they're saying.
Damn, technology.
Absolutely.
A lot of coping going on here by Golden and Bokoen.
Yeah, the post-mortem of this defeat is gonna echo into the green room, I think, all afternoon as we sit down to watch the grand final.
But Dankers and Lennard look so serious, but they're not doing anything serious.
You decided to go and no air bills. What do you want from me?
Golden decided for no air build, now pushing the guild away. Once again, Golden.
Absolute cope there from Bo. Blaming it all on Golden. It's all Golden's fault.
Like, look,
The no air build. Yeah, no air builds don't often go so well in Hearts of Iron 4.
No, I don't want to listen to this.
Did you say I don't want to lose this? What is it going to do in 12 minutes?
I think he said, I don't want to listen to this.
I don't listen to this.
It's all too much for him. Are we actually going to see a GG, though, from Golden and Bo? Are they going to make us watch another?
I think they're just going to do their final screen time here.
Yeah, make the most of being on stream at this tournament, because unfortunately, due to their repeated losses, they're not in the final.
And we just heard them. There is something going to happen here. But the defense of Australia looks pretty strong. I don't think Bokoen and Golden are going to let a capitulation happen.
I mean, there's 10 divisions now on the island just north of Darwin. So
it's a crossing, right? It's
it's a straight crossing. They are in poor supply, actually, the defenders. But even then, perhaps there'll be some aircraft. No, there's nothing
the green bubble
moved down here.
For the Allied nations.
Yeah, they are defending that fairly easily. There's no air superiority. Actually, there is down here. Are they going green? Yes, the Axis do have a lot of planes over here, but it's not quite enough to force that crossing, unfortunately.
Again, I feel like Lennard and Dankers could have done a better effort here to take Australia, but I think they were just happy to finally get the win.
Oh, they have landed, in fact.
Oh, they actually took. Wow.
Yeah, they took the province.
How? Wow, I'm kind of surprised. I mean, they have strong involvement, they have a lot of air, a lot of CAS, and they easily stepped over into
forced attack from the defenders. I mean, I think the poor supply on the Allied side is causing them real problems here.
Yeah.
And the Allied Axis don't have that. Both of these provinces are ports, and they're in good shape, actually.
The port. This is probably the end of Golden. The final question of this game is, in 10 minutes, can we see a capitulation of Bokoen and Golden?
Yes.
Hitting their egos even harder. It will be devastating for both of them. And we see the hordes of Lennard and Dankers in North Australia going inside. The problem is there's very bad supply in Australia. It's going to be very hard to reach down to Sydney. But this could be now considered...
Always cut them off, the Australians. They are striking back. They lost the Darwin province. They've got one division encircled here. One division being kicked back onto this island over here. And he's left Darwin exposed, though.
They defended it. They did it. Now, Darwin back, what are they doing? Darwin now back in the...
now they got serious troops coming across now. That's 9 divisions.
Supply,
9 divisions. They're going to be in supply due to those ports. The defenders are not... But it's a long way around. There's a lot more divisions over here, in fact, just in reserve for the Allies. I don't think we're going to see a capitulation.
It's going to be very hard
in the time left.
But Lennard is keeping his promise. Look at him smiling evil in the corner. He said he's going to make it long and tedious for both Cone and Golden, and that's what he's doing. He's making sure they're going to feel every second of this.
Yeah, making it as painful as possible.
There's also no more divisions here defending. They're just going to take the north now. Taking Sydney, though, is going to be hard. Maybe some kind of nail invasions, or maybe a paradrop could work.
Well, if they grab that air base, the Axis, they could be able to funnel their planes in and get better air cover. They're already at an overwhelming air advantage. And there's not a lot else that Bow and Golden can do.
A lot of talking going.
The other thing is, though, with as they push pull inland, the Axis have very, very bad supply in terms of logistics. The whole game, they're down at 6%. They need 33 trains. They have 2 trains in stockpile. They need they're not trying to use trucks. So as they push further in this land area, they are going to have to use trains, and that will start to really hurt their supply. They can't rely on just convoys bringing it into ports and then using the supply straight from there.
And that is something interesting we can talk about when you look at the final game here, where actually we're going to see probably a higher level of competition here. The Axis have won this easily because their enemies weren't offering much. But once College and CMOPs are going to face up on this map here in the grand final today, it's going to be far more interesting. And this is great. Yes, you win the air war. Yes, you win the battles. You take all the islands, but you have no supply, no trucks and trains. And that I would think College and CMOPs are sitting somewhere right now, making mental notes. I will have to need supply on this map. Trucks and trains are important. A lot of these units are living on horses here, and that could be an interesting factor. Now even going down to 4%, it could be a very interesting factor in the finals.
Yeah, exactly. We are going to see a rematch of this map and the other 2 maps with the 2 finalists. You know, CMOPs and College, who have not made a mistake throughout this tournament so far. All the way through from the quarters to the semis, they've played really well and just been so composed when they've had the advantage in games. And you know, College having to come back from 1-0 down yesterday to overturn the deficit to Lennard. You know, it's going to be really exciting to see these 2 players who were not the most fancied before the tournament, but have come through as the 2 standout players. What
a beautiful thing. I love that. There was favorites in this tournament. There was Lennard and Dankes, who we're seeing now winning. But people that no one had on their radar, CMOPs and College went to the finals. I love that so much about esports. These underdog stories, right? That people showing who they are and upsetting people and beating the norm. And that's what College and CMOPs did. And it's going to be so much fun to watch them here later today in a very, very competitive best of 5.
Yeah, absolutely. Best of 5, of course, if you're not aware. The grand final will be 5, or up to 5 matches if we get 2 games all. Best of 5. We could be a long time trying to make sense of who indeed is the best player. At least 3 matches, possibly up to 5.
And trust me, chat, a lot of caffeine. How do you say that in English? Caffeine? What's in coffee that keeps you awake?
Caffeine.
Caffeine. I'm learning English here too. A lot of caffeine is going to be consumed during the next hours in the studio.
And that's something that's going to be, actually, I think we touched on, with these games, they roll into each other one after the other. Your breaks aren't that long.
Yeah.
With 5 games, if it goes all the way to the 5th game, they're going to be absolutely exhausted. It's a test of mental endurance, of your fingers not getting cramped up with RSI or other things like that. It's not just a test of your pure Hoi ability on the best day. It's when you're tired, when you're really feeling these hours of having to concentrate, having to do Rhine and then go bounce potentially into a 4th and 5th game. It's going to be really tough.
And that is so important and interesting about esports. People often don't talk about that, right? The exhaustion of it, how tired you are. Many people in chat often talk a lot, but they never really make that experience in their lives. Flying out here from your home, right? Someone like College who was flying 12 hours from California. Sleeping not in your own bed, right? Being active all day, the brain is always active, and then you play all day long, and then you face off in a best of 5. These people are tired. I've been seeing on the couch this morning. They're yawning, and that is people shouldn't forget about that in esports. The exhaustion plays such an important role in these kind of gameplay.
Yeah, I mean, we were saying, we feel tired here on day 3, just from talking about the games as they're going on, let alone having to play these games, hour after hour, practicing between games, having to really focus. It takes its toll by the time we get to day 3.
Yeah, and especially if people that can handle the exhaustion, they're going to have a great opportunity over the other one. It's best of 5, and if imagine we go for 2-2 in a final game. That is a game where truly exhaustion is going to play a major role.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not sure off the top of my head which map it would be if we go to a 5th game. But could you imagine if it was the Rhine map, having to play that after hours of playing to that micro-intensive map? I mean, we saw it last night. I think I spoke to Lennard, and Lennard said that I wish the Rhine had been the first game. If it had been the first game in the 3, because having to do all that micro when it's not your strong suit, and you've already done 2 really exhausting maps on the Far East map and in Sonnenblume. Sorry, it was 2 Sonnenblume. You know, it's a real challenge.
Yeah, a big important part of esports. If you look at the high-level esports, Counter-Strike, etc., right? Exhaustion is something you will have to handle if you want to reach the top echelons of a system, of an esport. And it's going to be great to see. Maybe Seamops even has a small advantage there. He lives in the same time zone as we are right now in Stockholm. He's from Germany, where college is from California. Even though Seamops told me today, he said, I think he was joking, he only slept 8 hours in the last 3 days. It's very hard for sleep for him here in the hotel. Especially, he brought 2 Bacardi bottles. I don't know what he's been doing with them. But the exhaustion is going to be a very interesting factor in the finals.
Yeah, absolutely. So back in the game here, just more sort of mopping up, and Province is taken here by the Axis players. And there's not a whole lot more that they can do. They're trying to deploy some Marine divisions here down in Melbourne and Canberra, but it's a long way to go. We're probably not going to get a capitulation here. It's quite a long way to go in just 3.5 minutes.
Yeah, we haven't seen a GG, and I think Bokwin and Golden just want to prove we will not lose Australia. It will be a great victory for the both of them.
Yeah, just no surrender from Golden and Bo. They're determined to fight this to the bitter end, and it will be a bitter end for them because it's going to be
Very
a
bitter
defeat.
Yeah, they're going to fly home not
winless.
Yeah, and in 3 minutes, we're going to be done with the Bozaster and Golden, who is now here in the studio, often being called Copper. And then we have a grand final for you. And trust me, if I tell you, my dear viewers, the grand final is going to be very exciting. I don't think we're going to see a one-sided crush like this.
No,
College
definitely not.
CMOPs are truly ready to show the world what they're capable of.
And it's also been great to see. I mean, this morning I was in the practice room, and I saw College practicing, and CMOPs was there giving him tips.
Oh, that is so
The two
Wow.
finalists who are going to go head to head later in a battle of endurance and of wits. He's giving him tips on how best to optimize his strategy in a practice game he was doing against College, I think, against Golden. Sorry, I think. Just great to see.
Yeah, it's one beautiful thing about this week was how friendly everyone are. We're
Yeah.
all friends here. We're all having fun, laughing, playing games. There's no toxicity at all, and everybody is sharing tactics and stuff. But you know, I want to say one thing though. When in the coming years these events feature prize pools, when the rank 1 goes home with 4 or maybe 5 digits, I would think that stuff is gonna get more competitive, which I'm sorry to say. I don't want to sound like the devil's advocate, but I would like to see that. I'm a big fan of all the friendship, but seeing a player push out 100% of themselves onto the battlefield, giving it all and knowing I want to win you. Yes, we're friends, I like you, but I want to beat you, and I'm going to take the money home, the prestige, the titles, whatever. That's going to be very interesting where we're going to go with these developments.
Yeah, absolutely. It'd be fascinating to see where this goes. Hoi 4 esports like this is still so new in the grand scheme of all the esports that exist, and it's going to be really interesting to see how it develops over the coming months and years as we carry on. Boken with his head in his hands there. You can't believe how these 2 battles have gone. Such high hopes, such strong talk from both Golden and from Bo.
They just couldn't use their navy. They were utterly locked down. And I think a massive mistake, and also to the...
I mean, this is a desperate naval invasion happening now. They're getting raided all the way along. They're trying to get to Batavia, I think, from directly from Australia. But as they go all the way along, they're getting raided in every single province they go through. Convoys going down left and right.
Yeah, and a big mistake there that you can't just ignore the industry trees, whether it's just the civs or just the mills. You need the industry early, rushing down the USA tree, and especially getting the bonuses from the USA Ultimate didn't help them at all.
No, yeah, it just hasn't. They've run out of manpower. They got ended up on 50 mils. Actually, we can double check on the Axis side. I mean, to go back to what we were talking about earlier, still 59 mils. It's not such a huge thing, but 115 total factories. On the Allied side, just 97. So there's a significant goals there. But yeah, these events are getting battered. They're going down 29% strength, 9% again.
And the torture
and that's it.
Is over.
GG.
GG. Lennard fulfilled his promise, long and tedious and painful, not just for the players sometimes, but we are done with the show matches. Bokuin and Golden taking the L here. Lennard and Denkes were able to get some wins here after getting pushed out of the game.
Yeah, a really interesting game. Really great to see the map. Have a bit of a preview before we go into the final maps later on today. But yeah, very one-sided in the end for Dankus and for Lennard. Bo and Golden
And,
had no answer.
Some people call me a fortune teller. Golden, we see you next year on this event.
Yeah.
And yeah,
What a brilliant
we're
game.
gonna probably see more exciting games today.
Yeah,
I'm pretty
I mean,
sure about
we've seen
that.
a couple of quite one-sided ones. I love seeing new strategies. I'm seeing something new tried when we don't see. You know, we haven't seen a naval invasion before on the Rhine map. It's been quite that dramatic. I think had it not been obvious to Dankus and what they were trying to do, they might have been able to pull that off.
Yeah.
It was only because they sort of saw it coming and they put the divisions in there. They guarded against the power drops and they were able to see it off. But it's great to see new stuff tried. Whether or not our finalists will take any of those ideas on board from Golden and
I
Boat,
wonder.
we'll see.
Yeah.
We might see something very left field because they both train so hard. They're both so on top of exactly what they got to do. They might think, well, I've got to try something different to unsettle my opponent.
Yeah, and the beautiful thing right now is that the first map of the grand final, the next map we're all going to see is the same map, and we can see the difference of what grand finals look like compared to a 2v2 show game. That's going to be really interesting. And ladies and gentlemen, we're now going over to my favorite host of the tournament, Anderson the Studio, with a possible interview, I think.
All right, we're doing that. All right.
Okay, we are back in the studio, and as you guys can see, we have both of the players from the winning team. We have Lennard and
I'm Dankus. Hi.
yeah.
Hi.
So Lennard, let's start with you. In your expert opinion, what happened?
I don't know what their build was. I couldn't
I don't know
find
what-
like we tried to find out what are you doing.
I think the build
What
was
was this?
downright comical from the allied players. I don't know what they were thinking. Going for paradrops and naval invasions, that is some of the dumbest stuff I've ever heard, honestly. I think that we really executed well there. The destroyer rating, honestly flawless. I couldn't have done a better job
Why did you
myself.
escort your convoys?
No. What do you mean? We escorted our convoys.
True. Yeah.
So as far as I'm concerned, I mean, we did a perfect job,
Yeah.
right? Good job,
Yeah.
teammate.
Bo had nothing, right? He had nothing to offer.
Now, so Dankus, interesting question I want your answer on here. Now, we saw at the end, we saw from Bo's team, they started laying mines. Now, according to what was said prior, there was supposed to be a gentleman agreement about no mines and no subs.
Yeah,
How
yeah.
do you react to that?
So secretly, I sent him a Discord DM saying that they could do mines as
Okay.
a final ditch effort. So
Oh.
they didn't break the gentleman's agreement.
It didn't
I did
help them.
authorize.
Okay, is that more as a pity thing?
Yeah, I think it's really good practice to give your opponents as best of a chance as they can. I think we won here in grace.
Good to know. Before we go to a quick break, we'll soon be back with the best of 5, of course. I want to know, Lennard, what do you think we'll see from CMOP and College when they play this map in a few minutes?
I'm cheering for college.
You're cheering for College,
I think he's the better player with Navy.
and I'm guessing I kind of want to call you Gankus, so I'm just going to do that now.
Okay.
So, Gankus, who do you think is going to win the first map pair?
I think Leonard's gonna win. Oh, that's right. Oh, I'm sorry.
Ah.
I
That-
guess college.
That would be so unfortunate if someone was up here and said that I hadn't won a single game. But of course, that hasn't happened.
That'd be crazy.
Yeah.
That would be crazy.
That would be crazy, right, guys?
And you played like 5, right?
I hope all of you enjoyed our 2v2 show match. We hope to do more of that with Commanders in Conflict later on. As always, if you like what we do, please follow and subscribe here on Twitch. Also join our Discord because that's the easiest way to find pickup games for our mod. There's also several competitions going on, so if you want an easy chance to get some sweet swag and some Steel Series gear, you should definitely check those out. You know, I think we can put a pin in the second best of 2 show match here. Lennard, Golden, thank you so much for, I'm sorry, Dankus, for hanging out with us. We'll be back in just a few minutes. See you guys then.